If it's something that I don't want to do, I'm doing it, okay? They're not going to want to go to trial because if we use this, it's a chance that they could lose. Morning, it is Saturday, and welcome to a daily vlog. Y'all, we got a couple of things to do. It's really going to be kind of like maybe a reset. I have no idea. All I know is the boys are leaving this weekend. One of my baby boys, he left yesterday. What you got? What you got? Yeah, you be trying to hide and stuff. Oh, shoot, your shoes outside.
Oh yeah.
Grab those and see if they dry. He about to be leaving real soon, honey.
Well, I'm gonna
You finna what?
go live.
Um, you want me to get him or you good to get him? I'll grab it. Hey, nephews. Where y'all at?
Hi.
But yeah, girl, it is messy in this house. Very messy. So I need to get to cleaning. But first, let me change my clothes. I need to get out of these pajamas. 1 second. Okay, y'all, so boom, mission accomplished. I got my show on. I'm gonna be watching, what is this show? Suitcase Killer. It's supposed to be based on a true story. It says the Melanie McGuire story. Nurse Melanie McGuire insists on her innocence after her husband's remains are found in several suitcases in this drama inspired by a true story. That's crazy, but I ain't gonna lie. I be liking shows like that. Okay? I'm just that first 48 type person, if you ask me. But how are y'all doing this Saturday morning? What's going on? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It's been a pretty tough week for me. Where's my mommy cup? Y'all know I gotta do my mommy cup. Hold on. I done went and walked in my room to see if it was by my bedside like I had tea last night, which I did not. It was in the dish rack. I should tell you where my mind is at. So I'm about to make me some coffee real quick. Sip on my coffee. Honestly, hold on. If it's something that I don't want to do, I'm doing it, okay? Period, point blank. So I just put a timer on my microwave for 15 minutes. And I'm about to clean this kitchen because I did not clean it last night. Girl, let's get this together, okay? Okay, girls. So, ooh, we got clean the kitchen, y'all. The kitchen is clean. The floor is drying. I just mopped it. So I ordered this $100 envelope savings challenge binder. I got mine on Amazon. I know a lot of people are getting theirs on TikTok. Whenever I go on TikTok and I see anything that I like, I go on Amazon. You can also like read reviews. You can see people feedback and stuff like that. I don't know. And then I got Prime, so I pretty much get a next day delivery most of the time, which this was. So I paid like $8 for it, y'all, and this is it. It's purple. They had a lot of colors in it, and it comes with the little inserts numbered 1 to 100 that you put in here, and this is where you basically like put your little money in there that you saving. And then it comes with I think 3 different challenges. So one is the $100 challenge. I mean 100 envelope challenge where you save up to 550 child where you save $5,050. And then they have a 30-day challenge where you're saving $300. Then a 52-week challenge where you save basically 2,600. So yeah, that is what we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna try to see if I could get like some type of dry erase or something, so maybe I could do it multiple times. I don't know how I want to mark it off, but I'm excited about that, y'all. I really am. I'm gonna go ahead and get my little drinky drink ready and knock out this back area, and I'll pick y'all back up later.
You got to like them a lot to, you got to be into them. If you can't one.
Okay, you guys, so we are on our way to Hollywood to go grab some ice cream and some nice burgers. I was craving a nice juicy burger, so we went to Shake Shack and ordered our burgers, and the burgers were really good. I didn't get any fries or anything extra because I wanted ice cream, and if you've never been to Afters, go to Afters. They had so many cool different types of flavored ice cream. I chose cookie butter. My boyfriend chose cookie butter and some type of strawberry something. But they were both so good and so tasty. I ended up eating some of it, but not all of it. But 10 out of 10, recommend. It wasn't too cold out. A lot of people were out. It was a nice vibe, so we decided to eat our ice cream out there. And once we got back home, of course, we watched another Netflix series called Alone. Y'all, watch it. You have to watch it. I just finished or just left church. Y'all know I be online with church. I don't have like an actual church that I go to yet, but good sermon, good lesson, but it brought me to want to like tell my testimony, and I'm like, maybe I'll do it on my channel. Maybe I'll do that to kind of like close out the day. I'm literally about to season my chicken after I make breakfast. Y'all know it's Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm making wings and tacos, kind of like some finger foods or whatever. Then I have like chips and salsa, chips and guac, and some fruit on the side. So that's what I'm gonna be making for Super Bowl Sunday today. I have like some little football stuff that I got from Dollar Tree months ago. So I just keep it and just recycle it anytime I do like any type of like football um watching, if we watching a game or anything and I'm cooking, I use like my little football stuff. So I'm about to set that stuff out and start prepping. But y'all, today's message was just what I took from it. It was about being in the last mile of your waiting season and not giving up. Um, and just like reassurance and confirmation that you're almost there. And I remember when, and I remember when, okay, let me just say this, okay? I'm gonna try to move while I'm talking because I'm trying to get stuff done at the same time or whatever. But, what? Oh. There was a time where it was maybe a year and a half ago, financial issues kicked in and I couldn't pay my rent on time. And the complex that I live in, they decided to file for eviction. And basically, like, they wanted to file on a Monday, and I was going to have my rent money on that Wednesday. So I was asking them, can you wait? And they were like adamant about filing. Now, I knew that they were very strict when it come to like on-time payments for rent. So I knew that this was a possibility. And when I did have the money and I tried to pay, they were like, oh, you have to pay these legal fees too. Now, I also work in the industry, so I know how things go. And at the time, I was like, you know what? I guess I'm about to fight this case because I don't have another $800 to spend on legal fees, right? So this whole eviction process took like, I want to say September, it was done, and maybe March. And every step of the way, y'all, I was fasting and in prayer. Okay. I would wake up on days where I didn't have anything to do and just be praying. I would be up in the middle of the night and I would just be praying. And I would be sitting at my work desk and just not putting no music in my ear and nothing, just working, just being in silence, just waiting for God to speak to me. And when I tell y'all, it was things that was happening through that time that I knew that God was with me, because I would hear him say things like, don't listen to anything, be quiet. I just want you to hear my voice today. I want you to sit in silence. And when I would be sitting in silence, it would be like, okay, if this person calls you, or really he didn't even say if, and I'm not even gonna say it, or I felt like God told me, when they call you, they're gonna give you 2 to 3 options. This was like in the middle when we were going back and forth with the other lawyers on the other side, trying to come up with an agreement or to settle so it didn't have to go into court before it went into court. And he told me to take the third option. So when I got a phone call and I was sitting at my desk, the day that God told me, just be quiet, they gave me 2 options. They didn't give me a third. They did not give me a third option at that time. I don't remember, but I just remember God saying, don't be greedy, be honest, be truthful, be fair. And I remember at the time, I had a good lawyer. And let me say this, I knew from working in this industry that I was not going to win this case without a lawyer. So I went to the self-help center at the court. I had them help me file my response when I was served. I went to different workshops, and by the grace of God, a lawyer from one of the workshops that I went to reached out to me and said that they wanted to represent me. And this is why I say faith without work does not work. I'm not going to say it's dead. It does not work. It delays, because had I had sit and tried to do or listen to the people that were telling me that they weren't going to be able to represent me or they could help me and I can go to this workshop, but they cannot represent me, I would have just kicked back and not even maybe went to the workshop. But I was adamant about like just putting myself up on knowledge about what I can do, what my options are, etc. And so I'm just showing up in every aspect that I can. And by the grace of God, I got a call that this person would represent me. And this was a person from a free program, I guess. They help people, whatever. And I got matched with an awesome lawyer, an amazing lawyer. And so he wanted to push for, you not paying nothing back. And we're going to figure out this and we're going to figure out that. But I remember God telling me to be honest, be fair, and be truthful. And so my thing was, I told him, I don't think you can live anywhere for free. Even if somebody was renting a room for me, they helping me out some type of way. Renting a room or staying with me, any type of thing. I don't think you should stay somewhere for free at all. And so I told him, to be fair, I want to pay. My end result and how I saw things was I want to pay what is due. I just don't want to pay any legal fees because I thought that that was crazy. And having just knowing that people do what they want for certain people, I knew that they could have held on those 2 extra days for me to pay them. And so I thought what was fair was I'm paying y'all late fees associated with this and I'm paying my back rent. I'm not paying nothing else. I don't want to pay anything else. So that to me was fair. And he kept saying, like, we don't like to see our, I don't know what you would call it, but they didn't like to see people that they were representing having to pay for any legal fees or anything extra, no late fees, nothing. So in that moment when I was at work and God spoke these words to me, I knew there was going to be a time where I had to make a decision. Fast forward to the day that I was in court, right? Um, y'all, I was sitting there on the bench waiting to go in, and I thought we were going to take it to trial because my lawyer was going back and forth like, no, 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 no. They came with an offer. He gave an offer. They came back with an offer. He was giving offers. So I was so blessed, but I was sitting there and a lady was sitting next to me and she was like, you have a lawyer? And I was like, yeah. I told her the law firm that it was from, and she was like, I have been trying to call them to try to get help this whole time. And I'm sitting in the courtroom and I'm watching everyone else's case. The favor that God had on me with everybody, from the lawyer that was on the other side, I had favor with that lawyer, from the judge, from even the sheriffs or whoever that be standing outside the courtroom. I mean, everybody that I talked to, everybody that I had to communicate with was willing to help me, was willing to work with me. And I sat in that courtroom and I saw everyone else's case. And I saw what they were going through. And I knew in that moment, because everybody else was struggling, there was someone that was there trying to represent themselves. And I was looking at that like that could have been me. But I knew that if I had tried to represent myself, regardless of the knowledge that I knew I wasn't going to win against a lawyer who does this every day, all day. And I saw people doing that and they weren't winning. They weren't, even one of them went to trial. They went to trial, meaning they couldn't come up with an agreement and it got pushed to trial. And I sat there and I saw lawyers talking to, people who were being evicted or had been served, they're, going through their process, and just how unprepared they were, and how the lawyers knew that they were not prepared. And I saw people's livelihoods, like the roof over their heads, in jeopardy. And I didn't contact this law firm. I simply went to a workshop. I went to the self-help center. I was doing all the things, meaning I was walking and putting myself in a position to where if God was going to make something happen for me, he was going to make it happen for me when I showed up. You hear me? And I remember when it was just about to like go to trial. It was like, we're not agreeing on whatever it was. And my lawyer didn't want me to. He kept telling me to wait. He stood up. And let me also say, during this whole time, I was praying over my lawyer. I was covering him and everybody connected to him so that I could have favor. Okay, so going back, I'm sitting there and it looks like we're gonna have to go to trial, right? So my lawyer, he stands up and he said, hold on a second. He gets on his phone. I think he's talking to maybe other counsels or in a law firm or whatever. Because I think he may have been in training or whatever, you know. So he stands up, he's texting, he's calling, he walks over to the other side where the other lawyer was, and he's conversating with them, right? He comes back to me and he says, I have something that I think I could use that is going to work. And they're not going to want to go to trial because if we use this, it's a chance that they could lose and they would not get any money, right? And so I'm like, okay, I don't know what he's using or what he's saying. He never told me what that thing was. But the end result of everything was that I had until they gave me a date to pay off the total amount that was due. I did not have to pay any legal fees out of my pocket. And I would pay every month up until that end date that they gave me to pay off the total amount, right? So going forward, I would pay each month because at that time they didn't want to take any money from me. So my rent is just stacking up. So they were like, from this day on, starting next month, you start to make your payments on time. And then you have until this day to make the full amount, which is a payment arrangement that they would not allow. So that's what we ended up coming with. We did not go to trial. I sit in front of the judge and the judge is like, are you sure that you want to accept this agreement? And I'm looking at him and he's like, do you understand? Because if you don't pay this in full by this date, then it will be an immediate eviction, meaning they're going to serve you a sheriff's notice at that time. And so in my heart, I'm like, yeah, yeah. And then, y'all, I walk out. That was the agreement. I go sit in the car and I was just in awe because how? You know what I mean? How? Everything just lined up. Every day that I'm praying, God's speaking to me and he's telling me what to do. He's telling me what to say. He's telling me where to go and this next step and this next step. And when God tells you to do something, you're not going to get the next step. So if you're sitting here like, I'm not moving, nothing's moving, I don't see anything, it's probably because God told you to do something and you haven't even done that thing so that he can bring you into the next thing and so that things can continue to progress. And so I'm just doing everything that I'm hearing God telling me to do, all led up to this moment where I had representation, where I had favor with everybody that I came in contact with. And I couldn't tell you what was different from me than everybody else that was in that courtroom fighting the same cases that I was fighting. But I had favor. I had favor. And then here's the kicker. I get a call the next day from my lawyer and he says, we are going to cover, he said, we're going to cover your back rent. Okay. So don't worry about paying that. Just make sure that every month going up until this end date that they gave you, you are making your payments on time. Make sure that they are on time. Okay. And then he also told me, keep your receipts. Now, here's the thing. Every month that I wasn't paying rent, I was saving that money. So it wasn't like I didn't have the money to pay my rent. I was saving that money. They just didn't want to take it. So when he called me and said, just make sure you pay every month on time, and we're going to take care of the arrears. We're going to take care of the past due amount. In my head, I knew I had been saved up 3 months rent. So I knew for the next 3 months, I was going to be able to pay my rent on time. And not only that, like the income that I was getting, I was going to be able to continue to make my payments on time. And in hindsight, when he called me and told me that, he also said, not only are we going to pay the back pay, but we're going to pay 6 months ahead for you also. So then I got a call, and I was waiting to see how things would get approved, how things would work. And he called me and said, I have bad news. I spoke too soon. You actually overqualify, and you don't qualify for this program for things to get paid, right? So I'm thinking, damn, I'm gonna have to pay all of this plus that. Let me make sure I'm strict on my finances and my budget and make sure this gets paid. He said, but this is not your fault. This was an oversight on my side. So the past due balance is still going to get paid off for you. You are still going to receive that. The check is going to go and get dropped off directly to, your property manager. And you just make sure, just going forward, you keep your receipts and you pay your rent on time. And in my head, I was like, that's a blessing. I didn't need the extra 6 months of rent to be paid because I knew that God was going to take care of it. If he got me through this, that means that he was going to secure every other month after that. Okay. And when I tell y'all, the moment that they dropped off that thing and I saw everything cleared, and I also saw the savings I had in my bank account, I felt so blessed. But I also didn't have a feeling of, I want to jump up and rejoice and this, and that. And I felt guilty for that, y'all. I felt guilty for that because I'm like, I should be ecstatic. I should be, jumping for joy that I did not get evicted. And I just followed everything that God told me to do. And everything worked out for me. So when I say through this process, the faith that I have grown through going through this situation, y'all, has taught me so much. And in the moment where I felt like I wasn't going to get represented, this all happened at Christmas. I thought that I was going to have to tell my kids that we have to leave. We have to move. I can't buy Christmas presents. We're actually packing because we're getting thrown out. That's what I thought I was going to have to deliver. And I was able to give my kids a Christmas where they got everything that they asked for on their list. I was able to have representation, this whole thing be dropped. My rent is paid. I have rent saved up also to continue to make my payments on time. And it was all because even when I didn't think things were going to work out, I still moved. I still did what God told me to do. And in the moments where I felt doubt, I immediately got up and I started speaking against the doubt that was in my head and started reiterating what God told me he was going to do. And I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't always sure. I would cry because I was thinking like, oh my gosh, like, where am I going to go? I can't go nowhere. And my credit is messed up. So it's not like I could go somewhere else in the middle of all this and try to get another apartment. But I say all this to say, when you are going through certain things, God is building your faith for him. God is building your trust for him. And in those moments, I learned to not only have the biggest faith that I've ever had for him, but trusting in him. And so now where I am in the season of, I want this and I want that, and I want to make sure this gets done, I have an overwhelming sense of peace and knowing that it's going to happen. And because of that, I don't really feel stressed about anything because I knew that since he got me through that, he's going to get me through I haven't not paid my rent since then. He has taken care of me every time since then. So when things come up and they arise and all these things come up, I know that God is going to be with me. And sometimes you got to be quiet, but all the time you have to walk. All the time you have to be obedient. All the time you have to move, regardless of how you feel, regardless of your emotional state, just move. And when I say just move, I mean move in the direction of trying to do what God tells you to do. And if you don't know what God is telling you to do, then you might need to fast, and you might need to pray, and you might need to get rid of all the distractions. So no social media, no listening to music all the time. Sometimes just being in pure quietness so that you can hear his voice. And if you don't know what his voice sounds like, tell him to reveal his voice to you, and he will reveal it to you, because the more you seek him, you're going to receive him. I promise you that, because I be the most confused. I be the most like, was that you? Did you say that, or was that me speaking to me in my head? And I would just enact on it, because I'm like, okay, maybe he did tell me that. And I'll do it. And if it doesn't work out, I'll be like, okay, so that wasn't you, because I thought that was you telling me to make this move, and I made the move and it didn't work out. And I will either have learned something within making that move and it hasn't worked, or it will work. But all the time I'm moving, and all the time God is meeting me where I'm at and giving me favor with who I come in contact with. And sometimes that favor doesn't look like an acceptance. It looks like a rejection, because he's trying to push me into a different way, but also giving me a lesson in that rejection. Like, okay, that ain't for me. But I also learned X, Y, and Z by going through that process, and I can use what I learned to go and pivot into this way. And now I have a straight shoot. Now the door is just completely open, because not only am I taking the lesson, I'm applying it to where he wanted me to be. So I don't know if this made sense for you, but what I'm trying to get across is, if there is something that you are doing or working on, and you are confused about it, you don't know how you're going to get out of it, you don't know how you're going to make it happen, I would say definitely move. Do what God tells you to do. Pray on it. Fast on it. Fasting is going to be directly to how you want to fast. I say give up whatever is distracting you, and just move into action, because that's what I learned during that season. I just moved. I just went. I just did it. I spoke to people. I put myself over here. I put myself over there. And God met me there and gave me favor with people that I came in contact with. And the same people who told me that I couldn't have representation are the same people who told me that they were going to represent me. So I didn't care. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't stop because I was doubtful or my faith was weakened in that moment. So I don't know. That's my testimony, y'all, for the day. And I think it's so telling to where I am now, where I know that I have almost $80K in debt with student loans, still that car that I have to pay off of that I sent in, other loans that I have taken out throughout the years, stuff in collections. I know that that is my financial situation, but I also know that through all of that I have done in the last 15 years to put myself in that position, I have so much more knowledge, and I'm so patient in this season. I'm not rushing anything. I'm not trying to, wait on this huge miracle. I'm just moving in action. And that brings me into what I'm doing in this month of February. Like, I really want to gain a routine where I have a morning routine, I have a night routine. And this is just so that I can stabilize my nervous system from just being jittery and always feeling like, okay, like I'm working on this project and it needs to be, no, just like steady, slow and steady wins the race. As long as you're moving in progression, you're going to reach that goal. Just continue to move and God is going to meet you where you are. And I strongly feel like that starts in the home. like getting my house in order, getting myself on a routine, just expecting to do X, Y, and Z on a daily basis so that I can get to that place, but just showing up for myself and continuing to move. Even though I know I have this huge debt and I want this perfect job, I know that every day I'm just moving and going on with my routine. And eventually, wherever I end up, God is going to give me favor with the right person at the right time when it is the appointed time. And I don't want it a minute less. And I don't want it a minute late. I want it at the appointed time, because when it's given at the appointed time, there's something about that readiness, not the readiness that you feel like you have, but the actual ready. You know what I mean? And sometimes we think we're ready for it and we're actually not ready for it. So, hello, February. Today I'm just chilling. I'm probably about to prep, get some breakfast, and actually write out what my morning and night routine for me is going to look like. And I'm bringing y'all along with me on every step of the way. So stay tuned for next week, y'all. Stay tuned, because I'm definitely going to be documenting this whole process. And hopefully you like this video. Hopefully it resonated with you in some type of way. You were entertained in some type of way. But always thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.